how do you build trust in the age of social media?
Right.
How do you build trust with these phones and iPads and devices that have your secured password on them and should be for your eyes only, yet you're in a relationship with somebody? So how do you manage that? So
hey everybody, welcome to Soulful Conversation with Frank and
Sheila Battle.
How is everybody doing? Seems like it's been a long time, but probably hasn't.
It probably hasn't.
We hope everybody had a wonderful Valentine's Day and that you celebrated love and love of self and all that good stuff.
Love of self.
Love of self. Loving yourself.
Love of self.
Yes.
And love of others.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Love of others. I stand corrected.
Oh my gosh.
So we want to thank you all for engaging with us on Soulful Conversation with Frank and Sheila on our Facebook page,
Yes.
as well as Twitter. We've been receiving a lot of great comments. We want to thank you all for subscribing to our YouTube channel, for liking Soulful Conversation with Frank and Sheila, as well as 15 Minutes of Grace. And it's really been great. And so you all are the best, as we always say.
Yes.
So, but please do us a favor if you're listening on our Apple devices, if you'll just leave us a review or a comment.
Yes, please and thank you.
Please and thank you. If you're doing that on Spotify or any of the other ones, we encourage that as well. But just stop by our Facebook page just to say hello.
Say hey. Hey, family. That's my thing. Say hey, family.
Hey, that's her thing. Hey, family. As well as on our YouTube channel. So we also do this for our podcast, which is on all the podcast apps as well as YouTube. So we hit two birds. What is it?
With one stone.
With one stone.
Yes.
That's what
we
try
record once and put it everywhere.
Yes, we do.
Because we are busy enough. So having to do this multiple times for different platforms just doesn't make good sense. That just doesn't make good sense.
So as we move on, we want to thank today's sponsor, which is, I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I say it correctly. Key Financial Solutions Inc. Solution Inc.
Yes, no S.
So that's Key Financial Solution Inc.
Yes. The owner is the lovely Salathia Johnson. She is sometimes in the conversation, she's our little sister, and sometimes in the conversation, she's our big sister. Yeah. But we are excited to have her as a sponsor. Yeah. And if you are in need of, and we've talked about Salathia before, so hopefully she's not new to this audience, but if you are new to us, then you might not know about Salathia. But Salathia is a financial wellness coach, and she does more than help you get a budget and, help you understand and unlearn bad spending habits. She helps you identify your money habitudes.
Yes, she does.
Your money habits and attitudes around money. Her slogan is thoughts plus feelings equals behavior. And so she helps you untangle and unpack all of that so that you can have a bright and prosperous financial outlook.
Yeah. And so if you want to find out more information, if you're listening on our podcast, you would go to www.keyfinancialsolutions.com.
No S.
Key Financial Solution. It's going to look like it has an S on it when you do the .com, but it's keyfinancialsolution.com.
Right. No S.
And also you can email her at sjohnson@keyfinancialsolution.com.
Cool beans.
Or you can give her a call at 804-381-7790. That number again is 804-381-7790. You will not regret the decision to have a conversation with her. Just even if you want to try out the consultation, it'll be worth it just to find out where you are. She has this great exercise we do. We may touch on that later, but she's great at what she does. So we thank her for sponsoring today's podcast.
Yes. Thank you, Salathia. We love you so much. So what's new
What's
dude?
new, dude? Well, let's see. The battle station. We have an event coming up,
Hmm.
and you have that information over there because I don't want to say it wrong.
So, fortunately for us, we have had the blessed opportunity to partner and serve at Cedar Street Church of God right here in beautiful Richmond, Virginia. And they call it the Church on the Hill, right?
Yeah.
So, Dr. Anthony Michael Chandler and his lovely wife, Lady T, are the pastors of Cedar Street. And again, they've asked us to come back. It's always nice when somebody asks you to come back.
Yeah.
Right. So we've done this a couple of times now. And what they do is they offer a premarital retreat
Mhm.
for all of the couples who are getting married in the upcoming year. So everybody at Cedar Street that's getting married in 2020 or 2021 too, I guess, they have to come through this class. The amazing thing is that Dr. Chandler has opened it up. And so if you are a couple and you are getting married, you can register
Right.
for this premarital conference. The conference is called, it's a one day, it's just one day for this premarital conference or retreat. And it's called Before We Say I Do. The date is Saturday, March the 21st. The time is 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and it is up $125 per couple. And if you want more information about that, the link for you to register will be down below.
Yes, and or if you want to, I don't know if they have. Do they have a number on that flyer over there for those who are listening? We'll we'll link that down in our comment section. We'll find that number out for
Oh
you.
yeah, because I don't think it's on here. But
Yeah.
you if you call Cedar Street Baptist Church of God in
Yeah.
Richmond, Virginia,
Yeah.
their staff is amazing, and they will absolutely get you all the information that you need so that you can register. So
Yeah.
if you are all in love and in the midst of your wedding plans,
Mhm.
pay just as much attention to planning for the marriage as you do the wedding. And so this is an opportunity for you to do that. And we are grateful to serve. In Salathia, we do
Yeah.
the bulk of the sessions, but Salathia also does a session
Mhm.
in this retreat experience called Let's Talk About Money, Honey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about money. And so it's an amazing session that she does. The couples always get a lot out of it. And so we're going to tag team these couples one more time and help them get to the altar and
Right.
then beyond.
Yeah.
To the altar and beyond
Yeah.
is the important part.
Yeah, and her being there to talk about the money part of it as it relates to marriage is pretty key. And there's an exercise in there. Is it spoiled if I say what
We
it
can't
is?
tell
We
it.
can't tell what it is, but it
Mm-mm. You
it
got to
is a
come. You
great
got to come.
exercise. So join us if you can.
Yeah.
And
If you're getting married, if you know somebody that's getting married, if there's someone in your family, your cousin, if she done called you and asked you to buy this bridesmaid's dress and you want to make sure that they gonna make it, send them on to the retreat and let them have a let them have a good time with us and get prepared. Okay.
So you have anything going on with your book, 15 Minutes of Grace?
15 Minutes of Grace is still going, y'all. Like it's the Energizer Bunny,
Yeah.
and I keep trying to get not away from it, but I keep trying to say, oh, but I do other things, y'all. Like I do other things, and folks are still being kind and gracious enough to make purchase of this book, and
Right.
so I want to shout out. A young lady who just bought the book this week, was really excited, and her name is Myra Thompson from Prince George, Virginia. Thank you, honey. I appreciate you so much. She sent over an order, and we're going to get that right out to her on Monday. And we want your feedback. So if you are a person who has read 15 Minutes of Grace, now I'm going to be honest with y'all. Some people are saying things to me like, Sheila, I started it.
But
I started it, but you was wearing a sister out. And so we're going to figure out some kind of way to get y'all back on the bandwagon and back within those pages so that you can do the book. And I've always warned people, it's not a book that you read, it's a book that you do. And
I like
so
that.
I've always put that disclaimer out there. This isn't one of those, books you just get some sweet tea. No, this book causes reflection and journaling, and there are assignments in it and all of that. And so what I'm hearing and what I'm sensing is that people would feel more comfortable doing the book if they could do it in community. So we're going to
Yeah.
figure out what that looks like. The other cool thing about what we're doing is we put up an announcement for our first soul care retreat, and the March retreat has sold out. But we do have a second date. We have confirmed that. It is May 1st through the 3rd, 2020. That is Friday through Sunday, the first weekend in May. It's before Mother's Day, before graduation. So do something great for yourself, or ask your partner to gift it to you as a Mother's Day gift. And if you want more information about that, you can reach out to us at info@thebattlestation.org, and we will get that information, the details for that retreat right out to you.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, but I'll be home by myself. I'm not excited about that part. But anywho,
I will take good care of you before I go and
I
when
know you will.
and when I get back. Okay, it's just the weekend. We're not gonna act up, y'all. We're not gonna act up.
Right.
So, today's topic.
Mm-hmm. Today's topic. Let's see. It came about. You received what is it? Was it TikTok?
A TikTok.
A TikTok video.
Now, clearly, I don't know nothing about that, even though
Yeah.
Zion is like, she trying to school me, y'all.
Yeah,
She's
so
trying
tell us
school
about
me.
that TikTok video.
So someone sent me a TikTok video of a gentleman and his girlfriend, partner, love, right? And I'm from Philly, so I'm used to like 3-card money, where you have like the queen of hearts, and you have 3 cards and you shuffle them around, and you got to keep your eye on the queen of hearts and then guess where it is. And so he basically played this game with his partner, except there were 3 blue cups, and under one cup was a $100 bill, which was what he showed her. And so then he shuffled the cups around and said, "Okay, find the $100." And because he didn't shuffle a lot, she was able to quickly identify which cup had the $100 under it. Well, after she snatched the $100 and went to run off, he said, "Oh, okay, but he said, you got that, but what you could have had was," and he pulled off the second cup, and there was an engagement ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pulled up the third cup, and it was the PIN number to his phone. The PIN number to his phone. And when I tell you, this young lady grabbed for the PIN number to his phone, she didn't care about the $100 anymore, and she really didn't care about the engagement ring.
She left it on the table.
The most valuable thing on the table was not the $100, was not the engagement ring. It was the PIN number to his phone. And so that is part A of what prompted today's topic.
So it's crazy because you saw that, and then I was just kind of reading around, and because I know we try to have, these podcasts kind of have some substance, and there's not.
We want to be relevant.
We want to be relevant.
Yes.
Throw out stuff. So I ran across this article. It's called 15 Cell Phone Rules Every Couple Has to Follow to Build Real Trust. And that was from a website called lovepanky.com.
Like hanky panky, yeah, but love panky.
Yeah, love panky. Yeah.
Got it.
And so just interesting when she was sharing that with me, and then I was like, well, I pulled it up. I was like, I just read this. And we was like, oh. So we got into this whole, there were 15 listed there, but we just kind of looked at our top 5.
Yeah, we went through the content and pulled out the pulled out the 5. And I think that these 5 resonated with us because they're probably the things that people talk to us most about, as far as trust and all of that. Mm-hmm. So I will freely admit that I don't go through Frank's phone. Nope. Like, I've never asked for his password. If his phone is unlocked, if his iPad is unlocked, if his laptop is unlocked, I don't scroll through his stuff. I don't look through his text messages. And I just never have. Oh. And I think part of the reason is because I trust you.
Right.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about you in the third person like you're not sitting right here. I trust you. And the other part of that is, for a long time, we were under teaching that said if you're looking for something, you'll find it.
Mhm.
And I just never had a reason to look.
Right.
So I think it's not just if you're looking for something, you'll find it. I think that there are behaviors that happen that trigger trust issues or remind people of past trust issues or broken trust. And then
Right.
that starts this process of,
Exactly.
well, I got to check your phone. I got to check where you
Yeah.
are and, see who you're talking to and all of that. And so
Yeah.
this coin about today's topic is, this is the heads and the tails of
Yeah.
that coin
Yeah.
and how we got here.
Yeah, because it's always funny because I know there have been times and where, like if my phone is ringing or something, or if you need something and I'll just give you the code and you'll be like, what? She never remembers it.
I don't barely remember my own code.
I mean, there's nothing to hide in there. So, to each his own.
To each his own. And like I said, we're not.
I hear y'all. I hear you right now. I hear you. I hear you right now.
He leave his phone unlocked. I'm going through,
Mhm.
and there are reasons. There are reasons. People bring mistrust into a relationship, right? Because of past relationships, and sometimes it's not even about what the person you're currently in a relationship has done, as much as it's about what's been done to you, and you want to be proactive. You want to prevent, pain. None of us want to be hurt, and so I think it's kind of interesting, that this topic has come up, especially since it has not been an issue, for us. And yet people have had conversations with us about, oh, well, I found out such and such and such and such. And then I'll ask, well, how did you find out? Well, I went through his phone. Like, it's the most natural, normal thing in the world to go through your mate's phone.
Yeah.
And for some people, that is the norm. But there are some of us out here that's not the norm.
Right.
It's not the norm at all. And so, this should be fun to go through these 5.
Because there were things in there that, in those 15, that we kind of like, wow, and based on kind of what you just said. But, when we looked at our top 5, one of those was the being intentional about attention.
Yes.
Being intentional about attention.
And we talked about be intentional and impeccable with your word in another podcast. Y'all can check that one out. But being intentional about attention or being attentive, and it's so funny because this just happened to us this morning at breakfast. We're eating breakfast. He didn't have his phone. I think I had my phone, but it was like on the other side of the table. And we ate and we talked, and we ate and we talked, and there was no scrolling, and there was no, and so, but you have to. Some people that happened to us just in the natural course of the day. But some people need to set an intention and say, we're going out to dinner or we're going to have this meal and we're not going to bring our devices to the table. We have a very close friend, and when he goes on a date, he leaves his phone in his car just so, and as soon as he hears that, he's going to know that I'm talking about him. But he leaves his phone in his car.
What's up, bro?
That's him being intentional about giving his attention to the person that he's with. So the temptation isn't even there because his phone is in the car.
And tying that all in, it again, the whole cell phone thing in terms of the rules, I just want to make you all kind of relate that together. Nobody feels like, what? They were just talking about people and passcodes, but it all makes sense. Just keep listening. Keep listening. But
do you think we disconnected?
No, I don't think so. I just wanted to put it out there because people listen and
Okay, so let's make sure everybody is with us.
Maybe may have a little attention deficit.
Stop.
I mean, I'm like that at times.
Okay, so here's what we're talking about, guys and gals. We're just going to pull 5. 5 tips to follow to build trust in your relationship, and we're relating that to your electronic devices.
Right.
So how do you build trust in the age of social media?
Right.
How do you build trust with these phones and iPads and devices that have your secured password on them and should be for your eyes only, yet you're in a relationship with somebody? So how do you manage that? So these are 5 tips to help build trust in that area.
And to tie that in the part that in the video, when she grabbed for the code, like the camera was still going, but bro was going for he was going after her.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
again, it's the trust issue there, so we have, again, we talked about going back to the one I
First
just
one.
read,
Uh-huh.
which was being intentional about attention. I ran across this word, and when I told Sheila,
Here
she
we go,
said,
y'all.
"You say that, I ain't gonna say that."
Mhm.
There is a thing. It's amazing. We have a name for everything. There's a thing called flubbing. Phubbing. And what flubbing is, it's like when you're talking to someone
That is so weird.
and they are focused on checking their phone. They're scrolling through their phone and they may be texting or commenting to something on Facebook, on the gram or wherever, and they're not giving you
Their
attention.
undivided attention. That's rough. That's what Zion says all the time. That's rough. But I mean, I think first of all, it's rude.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, at the end of the day,
It is
it's
ultimately
rude. It's
rude.
rude. But it's one of those things where here we are telling our age. When we were courting, that was rude. Now it's become culture that even when you're in a conversation with somebody, you have your phone in your hand. But we can make an intention to change that, right? And really give people our undivided attention. And while we're talking about this in the context of a love relationship, this also helps with our kids. Sometimes your kids want you to look them in the eye when you're talking to them. They don't want to talk to you and you're scrolling on your phone. Just like if you were saying something important to them, you would say, put your phone down and listen to me. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So this isn't rocket science. That's just one of the 5.
Right. So that again is be intentional about attention.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be a great help to that conversation.
Yes.
Because you don't want to be asked, well, what did I say?
And then you go, cricket.
What? I heard you.
I know what you said.
Yeah, right.
I heard you though. I heard you. Well, but what did I say? I heard you. Okay. So y'all get it. You understand. Be intentional about giving your undivided attention when you're in conversation.
So what's our number 2?
So yeah, of course he's pointing this one at me because I'm guilty of this. So number 2 is issue a warning. And by that, what we mean is if you're going, well, the example in the article was talking about if you're going somewhere and you feel like you're going to be in a place that's kind of remote and your phone isn't going to work so well, issue a warning to your partner, like give your partner a heads up. But to make that relatable to us, because my husband doesn't go fishing, and that was the example in the article. But to make it relative to us, I am horrible. I will always admit I'm horrible with the phone. People call me and my phone is in the bottom of my pocketbook or somewhere. And then when I call people and they don't answer, especially my family, my husband and my kids, if I call them and they don't answer, I'm panicking. Wow. Right? My first response is to panic. 25 years later, my first response is to panic. But the tip is give a heads up. So my husband does orientations for his job. And sometimes I might feel like I'm in the midst of an emergency or I need to talk to him about something. I'll call and he doesn't answer. But if he says, hey, babe, I got orientation today, or I'm going to be in meetings today, then either I don't call, or if I call, that panic button doesn't go off. Like that red flag doesn't go off. The sirens don't go off in my head. Our daughter is 3 hours away in school. If I call her, I have to remember, okay, wait, she's in class. She can't answer the phone.
Right.
And it keeps me from panicking. But the warning is if you're going to be somewhere remote and your phone isn't accessible, or if you've got meetings that day, or you're going to be giving somebody else your undivided attention, and your mate or your partner is calling you, just say, hey, babe, I'm going to be pretty busy today. You probably won't be able to reach me until after lunchtime. Just give the warning so that it's not, well, where you been? And I called you 10 times and you're not answering your phone.
I mean, like for fellas, when you go play ball, when you put your phone in your gym bag,
right?
Somewhere. I mean, you're out on the court, you're balling out. Your phone's ringing and you don't get an answer. So that's one of those good moments where you could definitely, kind of give that heads up, that warning, like, hey, I'm going to play ball, and that will help you out greatly.
And even in the genesis of a relationship, because one of the things that we were gonna talk about is being ghosted, right? Mm-hmm. And so people have been build up in these relationships, and then major holidays come, and people kind of fall off the map.
Like Valentine's Day.
Yeah, like Valentine's Day. So even if it's a new relationship,
Right.
it's perfectly okay to say, okay, I know we talk all the time. I know we talk every day, but from, this hour to this hour, I might not be available. If you try and you don't catch me, don't worry, leave me a message. I'll call you back. It's just common courtesy. Like we're going through these tips, but it really just is common courtesy to just give that heads up. So you don't get the
right
neck rolling and the eye rolling about I called you, and then or you're not the young lady and see he's called you 10 times, and you're like, what?
And then
Like, why you call me so many times?
There's another one at a time. And then you end up, got all the missed calls, then you end up seeing a text, and it's not. We'll touch on that one later. The text is not warm and fuzzy, but
or you've been calling and calling and calling, and you text, and then they text right back.
Yeah,
because then that's a red flag. Like, well, who are you with that you can't answer the phone? So it's all that kind of stuff. But if you just give a warning, if you just say, hey, I'm gonna be at mom and them house. I can't. I might not answer the phone, but everything's good. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just give it a try.
Just give it a try.
It's a suggestion.
Hopefully we didn't muddle that a whole lot, because that was a whole lot of examples. But I think the place that we're speaking from is experiences and stories that we've heard about how this one thing could have been prevented if someone had just said, hey, I'm not going to be available. Don't panic. Right.
And so the third one is shut down unwanted texts.
I'm just going to look away on this one.
And unwanted texts, unwanted DMs. Had to pause right there. Got to shut it down. Got to shut it down as soon as possible.
So let's give the context of what we're saying. If you're in a relationship with someone and your ex has suddenly, he has seen your pictures, he knows that you are happily involved, and now he's in your DM. He's texting you, he's sending you pictures. You look good and you look happy. Hello. And then they're sending you. So what is the proper response for him or for her? What is the proper response? And the suggestion is that you shut it down. You shut it down immediately. Now, we know that simple gesture can create a path to an emotional affair.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother show. And we can totally talk about that. So if you all want us to explore the commencement, the duration, and the ending of an emotional affair, hit us up and let us know, because that is definitely something that we can talk about. And I would even go so far as to say it would be good to have Dr. Lisa on when we do that, because she was a person who studied that, and she was instrumental in our own situation. So yes, an emotional affair, you think it's innocent, but something can spark, something can start. And I actually want to correct something about it. Frank said shut down unwanted. Some people do want it, but they think they can control it. They think they can manage it, and then it spirals out of control, and then it's something that you can't. So if you're in a committed relationship, and especially if you are in a marriage, but if you are in a committed relationship, just be careful with the DMs and the texts from the exes. Just be careful with that, because it spirals into things, and then you can't get your arms.
Or even if it's not an ex, just someone just kind of
random
hitting you up randomly with stuff,
because it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
Happening.
And as you know, in the article, it went a little deeper than that. It talked about, and we won't necessarily, I'll just make a reference to it. It talked about having a conversation about, if you try to shut it down and then it continues, that in this particular article, they spoke about having a conversation with your partner about, hey, look, this is what's been happening, and this is what I did. I'm just letting you know.
Right.
And the premise of that was so that if it does escalate to something, you're not caught off guard.
Right. And neither is your partner.
Neither is your partner. So that was one of the suggestions that was made in this article.
Absolutely. So. Awesome. So yes, emotional affairs. Y'all want to hear about that? Let us know. Okay. So number 4. Don't argue or attempt to resolve an issue via text message.
Yeah.
Please, please, please. If you want to develop emotional trust between you and your partner, do not attempt to resolve conflicts via text message because tone
Mhm.
can be taken out
Mhm.
of context. Remember, when you get a text, they don't hear what you said, they hear what they heard.
Mhm.
And that can be two completely different
Yeah.
things. What you intended and what that person heard
Mhm.
could be total opposites.
Total
So be
opposite.
very, very careful about and sometimes the best text to send is, can we talk about this when I see you?
Right.
Or can we talk about this in person? Or can we make some time tonight to talk about this or set the time to do it? Because if you're just firing off, your thumbs get to going,
Mhm.
woo, it can be bad.
Yeah.
And we've seen that happen. It can be bad. And when it's funny because I'm thinking of somebody specific. When they read the message that they got, it was one way. But when the person who sent the text read the message, it sounded completely
Yeah.
different.
And that
And so you
happens.
just got to be really, really
Yeah.
careful. You got to
Yeah.
be really, really careful with
Yeah.
that.
It's just like the same thing when, like at work, if you send an email and you
Right.
respond to somebody and they come off and they're like, well, all I asked you was, and you going,
Right.
all I said was, and it becomes that whole misinterpretation.
Capital
And
letters and
yeah,
exclamation marks
you
and
were sarcastic in that email or that text. I
yeah.
was, no, I wasn't.
Like, how did you
And
get
how'd
that
you
out of
get that out
that?
of that? And then you end up making matters worse. Like Sheila said, if you could just have that time to say, hey, can we talk about this, later, or can we make time to discuss this? That one-on-one, intentional, focused conversation will take you a very long way.
Yeah. And they are not a sponsor of this show, but um
Who that
Marco
is?
Polo is a
Oh,
like I personally like Marco Polo.
I don't.
He doesn't.
Some long messages.
I personally like Marco Polo because in the moment while I'm thinking about it, I can get it all out. And then that person who I'm sending it to can take a look at it when they have time.
Yeah. But you use it a lot for business reasons.
I do.
And I
I use it a
understand
lot
why.
for business.
I
I
understand
do.
why. Because
I'm in the car and then it
yeah.
starts flowing and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm never going to remember all of this.
Yeah.
And there's no way for me to write this down. So I hit the button, I talk, I say the thing, and then I send it and it's done.
Yeah, it works there. But I don't like it, so we don't use it in our conversations because
we tried, but he doesn't Marco Polo me back. But anyway, one of the quotes from the article that I thought was really good is there's no clarity in texting. So it doesn't matter. You think you're being clear, but you're really not. It's so much better if you just go ahead and have the conversation.
Yeah. So you don't have to do you understand the words that are coming from my fingers? Not fingers, fingers.
From my thumbs.
From my thumbs.
Do you understand what my thumbs is saying?
My thumbs was talking.
Oh
you don't have to worry about all that. So
okay.
So you got that one,
Got
and that last one we want to hit on number 5 is cultivating trust. And then from the article, this particular one, this particular I guess line that was written was openness and honesty does not mean suffocating and obsessing.
Right. So I think the tip was give each other room.
Yeah.
Like give each other a little space.
Little space.
And it's okay, ladies.
Yeah, a little space.
If he stands in the kitchen, I mean, you don't have to hover. You don't have to, we don't have to helicopter people and try to zero in with laser accuracy to see right what they're doing and all of that. And it's okay. Sometimes my husband's phone is buzzing, and I don't even ask like, who is that? Or why is your phone going off like that? I'll tell him like if he's left the room and come back and say, oh, your phone was buzzing. But it's never like with an attitude like, well, who is that? And why are you?
It's almost like that little bit Eddie Murphy did about the phone. You hear that? The phone didn't ring about 50 times. It's Linda. She's a lonely. You remember that?
No, I don't. And we're not going to do no Eddie Murphy skits because that could get us in trouble. But the point in all of that is that sometimes we, because of our own analysis of what we think is going on, we jump the gun in an accusatory way when our partner's phone is busy or seems to be really active with buzzing and vibrating and all of that stuff. And you never know really what's going on. Like, I
Right.
remember the weekend that Kobe Bryant
Hmm.
was killed, and I remember talking to a young lady, and she was like, my husband's phone was just zzz, 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 and she said, I caught myself because I thought, well, who is this and why is it? And it was his boys. It was all his
Yeah.
boys texting like, did you hear? Is this
Yeah.
true? Da 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 da
Yeah.
da. And then she felt bad like
Yeah.
later, and she was like, I'm so glad I didn't say anything
Right.
because the magnitude of that tragedy would have just made her look petty and small had she gone off about that. And so the idea of creating a little space and giving your partner a little space is their phone is going to go off. Let it go off.
Yeah. There you go.
Um, and as long as they are not exhibiting other behaviors, because it's really the collection of behaviors that breaks down the trust. If they're not exhibiting behaviors that would cause you to question or doubt them, then don't get upset about the phone.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of energy to
Right.
expend on something that might not be nothing.
And just, I mean, when you talk about cultivating trust, I think we were watching one of the shows last week. I think it was um, the one about All Rise as it relates to the relationship, and she had some trust issues, and the guy pretty much was like, "I'm not that guy,"
Right.
and they had to have a conversation about. This is me. I'm not him, but he had to understand, and she said it that this is my experience.
Right.
So again, I'm saying that to say, conversations about those things as it relates to trust, are very, very important.
Yeah.
Um,
The other thing with this one was don't overanalyze
oh
a
yeah,
one-sided conversation. So
yeah,
if you're in the room with your partner and you hear one side of the conversation, you can create a whole scenario in your head of what you think is going on, and that
Mhm.
might not be accurate.
Mhm.
And so there's a difference between accusing and asking a question.
Right.
There's a big difference. If an accusation is fueling the question, then you're likely going to have a negative response.
Mhm.
But if the question is asked with care and compassion about, hey, that sounded like a pretty hard conversation. Are you okay? Is there anything I can do? That's a whole lot different from who are you talking to, and is it a woman, and whatever those negative spin-off questions become. That's two different temperatures. That's two different tones,
Mhm.
and you really have nothing to base it on
Right.
but one side of the conversation when you don't know who the person's talking to, what they're saying. You're not in it. So it's better to ask the question from a place of compassion
Mhm.
than to accuse
Right.
from a place of anger and
Yeah.
mistrust.
Because there very well might be Jake from State Farm. Why
Because this what he do.
you all see
Jake from
that
State
commercial?
Farm is not sponsoring
No,
this
he's
show
not.
either.
But you see that commercial. Who is that on the phone? It's Jake from State Farm.
It's Jake. It's Jake. Jake from State
What are
Farm.
you wearing?
What are you wearing?
So-
Okay, so we're gonna stop that. We're gonna stop acting like, because that's a funny commercial. And ladies, all of the big and little sisters of Frank, yes, that was funny. I will go ahead and give it to y'all. So don't email me, don't text me about giving him a hard time and telling me
No.
that Mr. Frank is funny. I know he's
I'm
funny.
not just
Too crazy.
just too
Too
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah. So I was gonna say something else, but I'm gonna stick with these.
Oh.
So let's just hit the bullet
Real
bold
fast.
points. Be intentional about attention. Issuing a warning.
Issue a warning.
Shut down.
Shots fired.
Wanted or unwanted text.
That's right.
Don't argue via text, and cultivate trust.
Offer space.
Offer space. And
Give him a little room. Give him a little room.
Need a
Give
little
him
room.
a
Little room. Little
Give him a
room.
little room.
Little
Okay.
room. So those are
Our top 5 tips
top 5
for
tips.
cultivating trust.
And so that was our discussion for this episode.
Yeah.
We actually had it's funny when we have conversations about these before we actually kind of narrow it down, because we look at where we are. We run into our experiences, and again, we always say we're not experts, but just a couple with experience, and so we like to take our experience and make so it's a good check and balance for us too.
It was.
So yes, that's our topic. If you heard something in there and you can relate or you can't relate, we want to hear from you. You can email us at soulfulconversation with fns@gmail.com. If you're watching on YouTube, that will be on the screen. And just we'd like to hear from you. Or you can go to our Soulful Conversation Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a message button there. You can hit us up there. We
Or
really,
when we
really
post
wanna
it,
hear
you can
from you.
say what you want to say in the thread, and then the community, the
Yeah.
Soulful Conversation community, can chip in. And if you have a funny story, like if you have a funny story where
Yeah.
something happened where you were
We would love to hear those.
mistrust, you were in a state of mistrust, and come to find out everything was really cool, and on top of it, it was something funny that was
Yeah.
actually happening. So yes, we want to hear from you. We love getting messages and emails, and we love it when we run into you guys out and about, and you have all these questions, and we're standing in the parking lot talking.
Yeah.
It's
And
all
we-
good. Like
and
we're
we-
not mad about nothing.
And we love it like when you come up and you say something like, hey, I listened to or I watched, this particular episode and we talked about it.
Yeah.
Those
That's
are
the whole point. That's the whole point.
point.
But that leads us to our fan of the week.
Yeah. A fan of the week.
That was a great segue to the fan of the week, because that's what happened.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Our fan of the week. See what we do with the fan of the week. We go through our
Comments.
outlets. We look at the
Mhm.
comments and all that. We received a comment from a person. I'm going to say gentleman based on the name.
Yeah.
It's called Sir Knight. And it's on YouTube. And Sir Knight is a big Alabama fan. Roll Tide. So, because that was his emblem on that. So, Sir Knight, he gives classes to his soldiers on the need to journal. We have a journaling video on
For
our
men.
on our YouTube channel. You want to check that out. And so he teaches them about self-reflection, self-accountability, and putting life events into perspective through the means of journaling. So we want to shout out Sir Knight.
Sir Knight.
We salute you, sir.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, and since you said you teach soldiers,
Mhm.
I'll just take it for granted here and say, if you are in military, we thank you for your service,
Absolutely.
sir. We thank you. We thank you. We
Absolutely.
thank you. So, if you want to be in
We
that
want you to
number,
shout you
as a
out.
fan of the week, just leave us a comment from YouTube, Twitter, Soulful Conversations with Frank and Sheila on Facebook, 15 Minutes of Grace. Wherever you can leave us a comment. We do go through them.
We read them all.
And we do. And then we'll be glad to shout you out.
Yes.
Because we love to hear from you. So hit us up.
Hit us up.
Hit us up.
Okay, so this was cool.
Yeah, it was.
5 tips
5 tips. Wasn't too long.
for how to build trust
Mhm.
with these cell phones that buzz and beep and
Yeah.
vibrate, all these electronic devices. Don't let an electronic device come between you and your partner.
Yeah, because they do.
Please don't.
They ruin relationships. Believe it or not. I mean, there was an article about that, but that was very weighty, and there was a lot of meat in that. And we didn't go there, but we could if we wanted to. But we decided to go with this one. So as my wife said, please don't let it bring contention and argument to you, to your relationship. Without having a conversation and kind of using some of the things that are offered as these tips.
And if you know somebody who could benefit from this, if you know someone who is
Oh, yeah.
struggling in their relationship in this area, it would be a good way to pass along some information to them so that them and their mate can have a soulful conversation about how to get to a peaceable place in their relationship as it relates to these phones and devices and stuff, because it's such a sad way for a relationship to end, especially if it was unintended.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
thank y'all so much for tuning in. Once again, we love y'all so much. Absolutely grateful
Right.
for every eye and ear, and ask you to share and like and subscribe and leave us a comment again.
Yep. And so once again, we want to thank our sponsor, which is Key Financial Solutions Inc. With Slathia Johnson.
Yes.
We want to shout again and thank Sir Knight for leaving us a comment, and we thank you
Yes.
for listening and watching on our YouTube channel. We really appreciate you being out there and providing us with the feedback. And we want to hear from you about topics that you'd like for us to discuss in the
Yes,
future.
absolutely. Wedding season is coming.
yeah.
So we got some cool stuff coming up we want to talk about. And if you have a topic, one of the topics that we talked about talking about was in-laws and outlaws. And so there's an opportunity if you struggle with that and you're getting ready to get married, or you are married and you struggle in that way. I know for sure that that's one of the topics that we're going to cover. But if you have other topics that you want us to cover, hit us up, reach out to us. And if you would like to be a sponsor, we love t-shirts, we love candles. I love t-shirts and I love candles. Today I'm wearing my Graceology shirt.
No, just a black shirt.
He just got on a shirt, but I'm wearing a shirt from a sponsor. So if you have something that you want us to wear, if you want us to shout you out, your business, contact us, because what we want to do is share the love. We love our platform audience, and we want to bring them good quality vendors and good quality products. And so if there's a way for us to do that for you, then absolutely just let us know. Okay.
Yeah, we're grateful for every download and for every subscriber on YouTube. Hey, we thank you all, and we look forward to continuing the conversation. So I am Frank.
And I am Sheila.
And we are out, and we thank you for listening to another episode of Soulful Conversation with Frank and Sheila.
Take care, family, and be well. Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.